Felix, I know you can hear me, so listen up. For the last time, you break it, you buy a replacement for me to install.
On standby for command.
hold on there. I gotta sign you in. Don't think I've seen you around. That means you must be new to Stellar Bay. You are new here, right? I knew it. See, I made what you'd call a logical deduction. You must have seen those UDL gunchips on your way in. There's only 3 of them these days. Still, they tend to scare folk off. You may not have heard, you being new, but Stellar Bay hardly ever gets off-road traffic, us being cut off by the board and all. Which means I never get to do this part, but I've been practicing, so here goes. On behalf of Monarch Stellar Industries, welcome to Stellar Bay, home of the freshest sal tuna in Halcyon. Please state your name for the records. Swell. There's one for the logs. I'm even gonna give you your own entry code. I'm not supposed to do that, it's against procedure, but Mr. Sanjar isn't so strict about the rules here. Besides, I got a lot of empty entries to fill. We don't get ship traffic in town. Only off-worlders who do make it out here are sublight. They got a base in Fallbrook. And thank the stars for them, or we would have run out of Rizzo's Purple Berry Crunch years ago. Oh, that'll just make Mr. Sanjar's day if you tell him. The board makes up lots of nasty stories about raptidons and cannibals and whatnot. But that's all outside our walls. Mostly. Oh, sure. They make Stellar Bay sound like a rotten place, but it's not so bad. Get a good breeze going, and the sulfur smell mostly covers up the fishy smell.
Ah, the nostalgic stench of home. Can't say I miss the day-to-day of living in Edgewater.
Anyway, Mr. Sanjar's got lots to say on that subject. Kinda goes over my head, though. Mr. Sanjar will be mighty pleased to meet you. If you see him over at headquarters, maybe you could tell him I did a bang-up job of welcoming you? Oh, and if you're headed that way, maybe you could do me a favor? I got this Rizzo's Rangers Tossball poster coming in on the next sublight shipment, signed by the Black Hole himself. Only I haven't heard anything in a while. You think you could check with Celia to see if it's come in? That's Bertie Holcomb, only one of the greatest tossball hackers ever. Everyone's heard of him, even on Monarch. We still get some of the games. You been living in a sulfur pit or something? Oh, you're real funny. Guess I don't feel so bad for missing what goes on in the rest of Stellar Bay. I couldn't really say I'm just a fan of the game. But the fancy collector types say the more people see these things, the less valuable they are. And I figure my poster's been passed around by more than a few people by now. Thanks a bunch! Celia works for Mr. Sanjar in the MSI building next to the bar. She's always there, so you can't miss her.
You're probably looking for Velma. Watch out, she's in a mood. Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
Fresh blood at last. Stellar Bay could use some.
What are the chances of all the times and places we could have been born?
Yeah.
We're here, light years from Earth, going about our lives.
Every time the punch clock peals, a worker earns his meals.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, I thought you were quoting It's a Wonderful Directorate.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
Laws. Can't a man enjoy the smooth menthol flavor of a Stogie Slim in peace? What I am doing, sir, is enjoying the moment. It's so rare that I can seize one apart from the jabbering masses of this wretched place. This law's forgotten town. Cut off from the rest of the colony. Removed from any culture. I recall when Stellar Bay was a proper board-affiliated town with regular shipments of Auntie Cleo's best and all the cereals. Before Sanjar took over MSI and got us all booted. Yes, free to wallow in squalor together. Free to squabble with the iconoclasts over a raptidon-infested hellhole. Look, you're making me melancholy. Is there something you wanted?
Well, well. Isn't often we see new folk in Stellar Bay. First drink's on me, stranger. Enjoy. If you plan on sitting through Nyoka's stories, you might could use a few.
I could use a few and telling them myself.
Now what can I do for you? Anyone who spends any amount of time in this bar is bound to get to know Nyoka, on account of her being here so often herself. And I don't mean that unkindly. Anyone who's rid us of as many beasts as you have is entitled to a few drinks. Something else I can do for you? Not since Amber Heights. These days we have more leaving than coming. Off to join the iconoclasts or some such. Bunch of marauders broke into the executive compound, slaughtered everyone. Corporations pulled out of Monarch not long after. I thought everyone knew. But then that was 10 years ago. Still feels fresh to us every time we look at our walls, though. Thought it had a fancy ring to it. Name's the first advertising anyone sees, after all. Nope. But a man can dream.
And the little bastard's slippery, right? On account of its blood, so it's sliding. All over the place, trying to crawl away. Getting so I can't tell the blood from the mud. But I gotta get in there, get right in that baby rap's stomach and dig it out. If so much as a drop of stomach acid got on that medallion, shit, I don't know what I'd do. Might be I'd hunt every damn rapt out there. Right. What are you staring? Wait. You ain't from around here. Who are you? Name's Nyoka. I'm the best big game hunter on the planet.
You're also the loudest big game hunter on the planet. And the drunkest.
Shut the Fair point. I deserve it, though. On account of being the best. If you think this is drunk, I gotta, you need to get out more. Sit, partake, buy me a drink and let's chat. Outstanding! What are you doing in Stellar Bay, stranger? It is a shithole. It's a free shithole, though. Plenty of ways to blaze your own trail. Folks seem to like that.
It is an admirable endeavor if misguided, and nearly impossible to achieve.
I ain't saying it's easy, but look around you. If it's impossible, it seems nobody's gone and told the people living here. Besides, the booze is good. Something about that fish oil. Cheers! Well. Let's get down to brass nuts then, shall we? Wait, that ain't it. Brass rats? Let's talk business. I'm headed back out there after I sober up. You want a guide sooner than that? You have to get me something to clear my head. Outstanding! Our dispensary here maintains a stock of, well, I don't rightly know what they are. Steroid or caffeine somethings? Pills. They're very good. I'm cut off for the month, on account of needing one just about every damn day. But I'm sure you've got your wily ways. Fetch me one and we'll be all set. Well, they work. We got a deal or what?
Quietly now.
We don't get many outsiders.
Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
New face, huh? You from Off-World? A ship captain? Well, I'll be. Here, let me buy you a drink. Consider it an MSI welcome. Why don't you grab a chair, sit a spell and revel with us? Me and my friends have taken our destiny into our own hands. We're untethered, free of responsibility and worldly cares. Well, as long as we don't run out of bits. But until the windfall's gone, we're riding high. See, we just walked out on our work. Had enough, we did. So now we're striking. It ain't any one thing but the sum of it all, having to work longer shifts for less bits. And the wages we do earn don't cover as much as they used to. Our supervisor, Velma, goes on and on about quarterly profits and meeting quotas. But that ain't what Sanjar promised us. Velma refuses to negotiate, so we're refusing to work. We won't go back until she agrees to pay us fair and proper. Us on Monarch, we're free from the board, you know? We have the right to lobby for better hours and pay. I wouldn't doubt it. You look like the type who tends to come out on top. Not like us cogs, trying to be the squeaky wheel but just getting deadlocked. It's been days, but Velma won't even hear us out. Maybe you could just make her listen to our demands. You would do that? We sure are lucky you decided to come up to the patio today. I knew drinking up here would be good for more than the view. Sure thing. What did you want to discuss? If I knew that, I'd have tried it. Talking reasonably got me nowhere. Maybe you'll fare better. The others wanted to blackmail her, but we're above that. Besides, them are just rumors. We got no proof they're true. I would never endorse such an untoward tactic, you know, but, well, there's rumors that Velma's taking a cut off the profits. So far, it's just gossip, you know, but if there was any proof to be had, it'd be in the Saltuna warehouse, I reckon.
It'll be good to get some steady pay again.
Thanks for the help. Still, this is a nice break from the warehouse.
We're not the best equipped, but scouting for rafts keeps us on our toes. We're not the best equipped, but scouting for rafts keeps us on our toes.
Could I get another advance, Mr. Nandi?
Just make sure it's properly logged.
I'll note it next to the others, sir. Greetings, and welcome to Monarch Stellar Industries, producers and purveyors of the finest Saltuna and Halcyon. What can I do for you today? Not at all. Mr. Nandi treats us all right and pays us well. I just spent most of my paycheck on Raptidon acid. Laws, no. Sometimes it's canid teeth, or mantis worm wings, whatever Sebastian has in stock, really. So I can talk to him, of course. He doesn't get going about much else. Sort of the strong, silent type. Unfortunately, my apartment's kind of filling up with his stuff, and some of the neighbors are complaining about the smell. I couldn't. What if he says no? Hey, maybe you could ask him for me. I mean, a no would still be bad, but it won't be quite as embarrassing if you ask. Oh, Mr. Nandi's doing that thing where he breathes through his nose real slowly. I'd better get back to work. He doesn't talk much, but he's got this quiet intensity, you know? Like there's stuff going on inside his head that you have no idea about. Plus, he's got great legs. It's hard to find a man who doesn't skimp on lower body exercises.
Good to have standards, I guess.
I know what I'm looking for. You think that's what I'm looking for? You're funny. Not in Stellar Bay. Everyone else who isn't taken either smells like Saltuna or they're my boss. Besides, a man with a good smile and a proportionate upper to lower body ratio isn't something to pass up. Sorry, sometimes I get carried away. Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? You know, sending you is the first bright idea I've seen from that man, because I told him to stop bothering me about it a week ago. I still don't know anything about it, but if you want to help him, Velma's the one to ask. She's in the warehouse. But I'll warn you, Grimm wore her patience thin a long time ago.
We don't get many outsiders. Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
We don't get many outsiders. Watch your step if you venture outside the walls.
Wrapped musk and canid eyes, right here. Hello, stranger. Can I interest you in raptidon tongue? Or maybe some canid toenails? You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts? I don't know. Celia usually buys whatever I have, and Mr. Pickett seemed real interested. So I thought maybe I was onto something. He came to Stellar Bay years ago, just before the board cut us off. Ended up stuck here. He was always real interested in our monsters. Mantiqueens, especially. Who wouldn't be? Now that just sounds like a fancy way to say boring people. Sure, they're real big. Hard to miss them. Well, I could send you to the same place I sent Mr. Pickett, but I haven't seen him in a few weeks. To tell true, I'm starting to get a bit worried about him. Tell you what, I'll tell you where I sent Mr. Pickett if you promise to look for him. Help him out if he's got himself in trouble. Fair deal? All right then. Leave town through the southern gate, the one right here, and head past the abandoned ruins. Last Mantiqueen I saw was in the wilds out that-a-ways. Could be Mr. Pickett still out there, too. Yeah, you find him yet? I sent him past the ruins just south of town. He was hunting for a Mantiqueen out there. Oh, good. Celia hasn't come by in a few days, so I haven't sold much. You look like a man who's looking for some mostly fresh animal parts? Huh. I haven't seen her in a few days, but I've been meaning to ask her how that Raptidon acid is working out. I hope it's working okay, because no one else really seems interested in this stuff. Wait, I see what's going on. She put you up to this so she could get a discount, hmm? Don't get me wrong. I'd like to give her a discount. She's a real fine lady. Always talks nice and slow, so I understand. But if I give her one, I won't hardly make a bit, on account of no one else having any use for Raptidon tongues. You sound pretty sure. And she is awful nice. Okay, I'll do it. Once her shift ends, we'll go someplace nice. Maybe to Chef Raymond's.
Have you talked to Sebastian yet? What did he say? Okay, but how did he say it? Did he sound excited? Or like he was just agreeing to it? Was he like, yay, a date with Celia. I've secretly been waiting for this. Or was it more, sure, I don't have anything else going on. Not to worry. If I never buy another Raptidon tongue, it'll be too soon. Ah, look at me going on. I'm sure you've got other things to do, and Mr. Nandi's giving me that back to work look. Anyhow, thank you.
Well, well. The only new folk I ever see in town are sublight runners from Fallbrook. But you don't look like one of Catherine's. What can I get you? All sales are final, unless you threaten me. I'm kidding. Don't threaten me. Do your part to support the local economy? Laws know we need it. What can I get you?
Help! Someone's been killed! I think I'm gonna be sick. No! I just stepped in a dead man's blood. And I think one of the flies landed on my mouth. If you're going into the apartments, do not go into the lower one on the right. That's where the body is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go contemplate a hot shower.
ready to die.
Not much I can do for this guy. Got any news from the rest of Halcyon? Nice and easy.
Ooh, you're the new face. Wow, you must be up on all the latest tossball games. So who do you follow? Wait, don't tell me. You look like a Hammersmith Thunder fan. No, Glacial Age Mammoths. I'd heard they'd gotten a new hacker. Is that why everyone's making such a fuss about you? But what are you doing on Monarch? Ha! Maybe we're not so isolated as I thought. So, what can I do for you? Graham's always filling the airwaves with this propaganda, like it's done him any good. All it means is the tossball games get to us in fragments. Makes them real hard to watch. Poor Isaac. I was wondering why I hadn't seen him in a few days. I'd really like to help. Isaac was a sweet fellow, even if he did have terrible teeth. Right. So the thing with Isaac is he didn't know where to stop. He'd get stuck on something, and he just couldn't let it go. Sometimes he'd drink Purpleberry Punch by the liter. Other times he'd keep betting on a losing team. Started owing the wrong people money. I don't know for sure, but I saw Elijah and his buddies pushing Isaac around. They're hooligans from Fallbrook. They sweep into town, drop supplies off behind the warehouse, and spend the rest of their stay getting rowdy over tossball games. They usually loiter in the alley behind the yacht club. They're not allowed in the bar anymore. I bet you anything Isaac ran into trouble with one of them. Mr. Sanjar will be pleased to hear about it when you're done. I know he gets fed up with the Fallbrook bullies, but there's not much he can do.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
She's always cranky.
No, I mean more than usual.
Wouldn't know. I made it a point to stay out of her way.
Well, new business turns up at last. Celia, didn't I tell you our new statistics-based advertising model would be a hit?
That you did, sir.
How can yield improvements of 26.7% not quicken the pulse? How can 32% cost savings not moisten the loins?
You've often posed these very questions.
Clear my schedule. This newcomer has a meeting with me. Celia, will you make a note of that for my self-review? Very generous.
Noted.
But not so generous I can't drive a good bargain. Now, who sent you? Rizzo's, perhaps? Or Auntie Cleo herself? What a charming notion. One doesn't meet many free spirits in Halcyon. Not outside Tartarus prison, anyway. Forgive me, I'd be positively enraptured. Only, I take it this means you aren't here for Saltuna. Yes, that's it. Channel your anger. I only wish I could do the same. I had hoped that livening up our advertisements with enticing figures would draw the other corporations back to our bosom, but it seems we're back to the drawing board. Surviving alone isn't as easy as it looks. Thanks to the so-called hazard clause, Monarch has been cut off from the board's resources and protection for 10 years now. Now, we've kept ourselves in business by trading with individual corporations, but given the off-the-books nature of those transactions, such arrangements are precarious.
Exactly what I would have said, if I'd been paying attention.
You talk like Graham.
Freedom always sounds nice, doesn't it? It makes a rather pretty slogan. But if you sit down and tally up the costs, how you provide for yourself in the absence of aid, how you protect yourself from a hostile galaxy, it starts to lose its shine.
Exactly. Intellectualism fuels the train to mankind's future, but the tracks the train runs on are forged from practicality.
What?
Yes, it's as though the good vicar has plucked the very words from my brain. I have people to look after. I need to be practical.
That's why Mr. Nandi here has a rather ingenious plan to get MSI restored to the board.
On our terms, mind you.
Ingenious plan? Don't get me wrong, I'm starting to admire your sand, but I bet you could overcomplicate a Sisti sandwich.
What a charmingly roguish turn of phrase. Allow me to express my thanks at your confidence and assure you that my plan is indeed sufficiently complicated.
And if our advertising scheme hasn't borne fruit, then perhaps it's time we took matters into our own hands.
It's true, our Celia is an alarmingly competent middle manager. At any other company, she'd be wasted in data entry. The plan she refers to is a two-pronged approach, and the first part involves seeing Stellar Bay properly defended. Not long, but the devil is always in the details. And the salient detail here is a Bolt 52 cartridge. If you can get us what we need to rejoin the board, starting the Bolt 52, we'll be able to become one of the most productive and secure cities in Halcyon.
And you'll have a powerful ally on the board.
Why, one of the strongest defenses in Halcyon. An extremely powerful ordnance.
Never realized fighting the bureaucracy could be this interesting.
It is quite the rush. An ordinance, of course. We do things in a civilized fashion here, not like Graham's iconoclasts.
Of course he wants to fight bureaucracy with paperwork. I should have known.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you just crawled out from under a rock. Forms and procedures are everything in Halcyon. And this one is located in the old arms building southwest of town, which used to be part of Stellar Bay before we had to move our walls in. And these days, it's overrun with marauders and raptidons. Do be careful. I've lost more than a few people to marauders and raptidons out there. Oh, and while you're at it, there should be a terminal in the arms building with some dangerous information. Perhaps you could delete it so it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. What can I do for you? I see. And was his delivery of the MSI authorized greeting up to snuff? Well, that's excellent. I'll see that your feedback makes it into his review. What else can I do for you? Hiram? Why, he's probably still out at Devil's Peak. Not that he's had the courtesy to notify me, at any rate. You'd head south along the road and look for a mountain to the west. Not that I'd advise it. It's a terribly dangerous trek. But if you insist on going, I'd recommend taking a local guide. Nyoka would be a prime candidate.
If you can keep her sober.
Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. I've asked myself the same thing many times, especially seeing as the legal mechanisms we employed were part of the board's own bylaws. Not intentionally, though that's technically true. For many years, this planet was home to as many corporations as Terra 2. Back then, it was known as Terra 1. Really? I always thought they were refreshingly straightforward names. After all, the whole point of terraforming was to make them Earth-like.
Here, though, the results were mixed.
And as the other corporations began to tally their losses, they decided to pull out. Our leadership at the time certainly wanted to.
And how did that work out?
Most regard Monarch as a lost cause. But there were others of us who saw an opportunity. The chance to improve working hours and conditions, to reform MSI from the ground up. It's humane, but it's also good business sense. Exhausted, sick, and malnourished workers are not productive workers. Even a cursory review of the data bears that out. Anyway, we learned of a loophole in the corporate bylaws that would allow MSI to claim ownership of the entire planet once the other corporations pulled out, creating the perfect environment for us to enact these new reforms. No, they laughed in our faces and insisted we'd be relocating to Terra 2, along with everyone else. Yes, some of us stayed behind, and as the most senior executive remaining, I ended up in charge of what was left of MSI.
Must have pissed off some real big suits to get stuck with that.
On the contrary, I wrote lots of very important reports on behalf of top MSI officials before I was able to achieve this position. I moved forward with our planned reforms, as well as our strategy to assume ownership of the planet. Yet not long after I renamed it Monarch, the other corporations dislodged us from the board and began an official campaign to paint us as lawless savages. I don't know. Everything we did was legal and above board. We followed their rules. and yet they still found reasons to declare us outlaws. I do think there's something useful in a governing body like the board. Something that keeps us from anarchy, but I dearly wish it functioned differently. He and his followers call themselves the Iconoclasts. Lawless anarchists, all of them. If anyone on Monarch deserves the reputation the board's pinned on us, it's them.
I will admit, I am keen to meet their leader.
Well, be careful what you wish for. Graham has a habit of ruining everything, and everyone around him. A chance! They've been doing this for years, and well, let's just say I know enough about Graham to be confident that he won't change. It isn't just that they drain our people and resources. Every radical act they commit cements Halcyon's image of us all as destructive rebels and pushes us further from the rest of the colony. He's lucky the board doesn't take him seriously enough to keep more than a few UDL gunships patrolling Monarch.
An Earth Directorate assault cruiser would change his tune. It's almost a shame we haven't seen one around Monarch in a long while.
It's a legal provision that gives the board the authority to cordon off any planet or location that it deems dangerous.
A necessary evil for the greater good of society.
That's exactly how the board describes it. Yes, making all of MSI criminals in the board's eyes. Rather hard to run a business that way. Why wouldn't anyone? They own nearly all the resources and infrastructure in Halcyon.
Without the board, chaos would overtake the system. Working within the established order isn't a principle to snub one's nose at, Captain.
If you can't beat him, might as well join him and reach into their pockets.
To be on the board is to be part of the colonial community, and being cut off means slow strangulation. I'm not a man to put pride before progress. If membership on the board can ease our hardships and provide us with opportunities, then that's the path I mean to pursue. Besides, I'm hopeful that additional leverage on our part will allow us a more equitable relationship.
Don't get ahead of yourself, sir.
Yes, it'll be easier to explain once we have the Bolt 52. My hope is to maintain the reforms we've managed here, and who knows? Perhaps once we're restored, we could spread them to other corporations. What can I do for you? Then it's good that I keep such meticulous notes. What can I do for you?
Please, will someone help me? My boy's in trouble. Oh, thank you for stopping. Everyone acts like nothing's wrong, like my little boy isn't at risk of being eaten by some vile creature. Please, you have to help me get my little Tucker back. He ran away and is going to get himself killed. Oh, I just know a Raptidon is melting him with acid as we speak.
It's more dissolving than melting.
That is not helpful. Don't you tell me to calm down. I promised my boy I'd protect him for always. But how can I keep him safe if he's run away? He ran out into the wilderness a few days ago. I warned him about the Raptidons, Mantisaurs, and Marauders, the toxic sulfur pools and poisonous plants, but he didn't listen. Please, won't you go and find my boy? He's been pining for an adventure, says he's tired of living cooped up behind the walls. But he doesn't understand how dangerous it is out there. I warned him, A raptidon would snap him up first chance it got. I just know one's ripped his arm off and is gnawing on his sweet little fingers. He should have listened to his mama. I promised I'd keep him safe here with me. Well, I guess I can't ask you to leave the town walls for free. It is deathly dangerous out there. I've got some bits saved up for a rainy day. I'll give you every last one if you just bring my Tucker back to me. I won't even be mad at him running off. You tell him I won't be mad. He's been listening to those awful broadcasts that the iconoclasts put out. I begged Sanjar to put a stop to them, but did he? No! And now I just know my boy's run off to Amber Heights. That is, if a manta queen hasn't spooled out and eaten his entrails for breakfast already. That old settlement, southwest of Stellar Bay. I don't know which is worse, the thought of my son shacking up with them nutty iconoclasts, or that he never made it. Sprats could be nesting in his rotting body alongside the road as we speak. Or maybe marauders got him, pulled all his teeth out, crushed him into their drugs and made him snort them. Oh, the things that could happen to my sweet baby. Thank you. Oh, I know he'll be safe now that someone's able to fetch him home. You look for him in Amber Heights, you hear? It's down the road southwest of town. I'm sure he made it that far. I just know it. And if you find any of them iconoclasts indoctrinating my boy, you punch them in the mouths. Tell them what I think of them luring little boys away from their mamas. It's immoral.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
Who the fuck are you? This ain't your alley.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is our secret alley. Berta already pissed by those crates to market. Not so fast. You look like you got some bits. I'm thinking we take them off your corpse. Oh yeah? What are you saying exactly? Wow. Most of the pencil pushers around here cave as soon as you look at them funny. Fine, we're going. This ain't worth it.
Okay.
No one saw me trip over that, right?
A fine day for business, isn't it? Anyway, what can I do for you? But that's terrible. What happened?
I'm glad to hear you've dealt with them. They've been causing quite a bit of trouble around town.
I've been consumed with other matters of late, but I would have dealt with them. Eventually.
Of course I would have. Still, your intervention in the matter is much appreciated. Please consider this payment for your services.
Smells like wrapped in here.
Oh, it does work. I bought some musk from Sebastian to cover up the Saltuna smell.
Trust me, this is worse.
If you want to talk to the boss, she's in the back of the warehouse.
Well, we don't get many outsiders.
Wouldn't mind smelling like Saltuna if we could sell more of it.
Wouldn't mind smelling like salt tuna if we could sell more of it. Look, I don't... Oh, sorry. For a second, I thought you were Grim. You're probably looking for Velma. Watch out. She's in a mood.
Look, you can tell Catherine the new shipment will be ready when it's ready, all right? She's welcome to come up here and pack boxes herself if she's in such a hurry. Sorry. Seems I got my cables crossed. Thought you were another shakedown tough from Fallbrook. Hope you can forgive my temper. This job has been running me ragged lately. First, my autoloader foreman stages a walkout, and now my chief pescatological health manager is missing. This again? I swear, this is the last time I contract for any special requests. You can tell Grimm his poster came in. You can also tell him I got a better offer for it. So now it's going to Nell. That about cover it? She runs the betting parlor across the way. Nice professional lady. She asked me about the poster once. Just once. Made a real generous offer, too. Damn right it is. It's staying locked up in my office until Nell shows with her money. No. I paid Sublight for it. So, it's mine. And when Nell pays me for it, it'll be hers. Grimm may have asked for the poster, but it's not his until I take his money. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. Fine by me. Sublight boss out of Fallbrook. Handles most goods that come in or out of Stellar Bay. Has a mouth like a Ground Six spacer. Something else on your mind? Braxton. He's in charge of getting the fish fat, but also making sure they don't get too many tumors. He's a real wizard with pharmaceuticals, but he has creative notions of working hours. Comes with living in a free colony, I guess. We're not keen on rules for rules' sake around here. Means Braxton skips work sometimes, but it also means no company boss is telling me when I can take a shit. Since you don't seem to be constrained yourself, maybe you could check up on him. He lives in the apartments. Tell him Velma said to get his lazy ass down here, or she might start noticing those extra drugs he's been taking from supply. Stealing's such a nasty word. Let's call it skimming. And yeah, let's just say I've noticed the sterile biotics we use for the fish would get used a little faster on Braxton's shifts. We're not like those corporate towns where you get fined for sleeping on the wrong side of the bed. Besides, the Spacer's Choice stuff we use is cheap enough. And Braxton knows how to get the salt tuna, fat, and mostly tumor-free. Unless you're here to tell me he's agreed to do his job again, I've got nothing to say. Hard workers? They turn dials and flip switches. The machines do all the actual work. Caleb and his crew have it better than anyone else around here, I'll tell you that much. Tell him to complain to Catherine in Fallbrook, not me. Sublight's demanding more money for the same contracts, which means we're all in the same boat. If Caleb wants to keep this job, he'd better get back to it. I'm about ready to hire Sublight contractors at this rate. Yeah, and did you miss the part where I'm working doubles to cover for everyone who decides not to show?
Ironic, isn't it?
I'm the one who keeps this place running. That money's mine, one way or another. Fine. Tell Caleb he and his team can have their raise, but I need them back here immediately.
I hear those rich people in Byzantium pay a handsome bit for rap musk.
Bet they also pay to make it stink less.
Supposedly, it makes you more attractive. You know.
Trust me?
Here to catch a game? I'm afraid the transmission's still pretty bad. What can I do for you? Signed by the black hole himself. There's no way I could pass that up. Why, did you want to see it? I don't have it yet. I'm waiting on a few customers to pay up before I can give Velma the bits. You mean dopey landing pad Grimm? I didn't know he and Mr. Nandi were friends. I guess that changes things. Fine. Tell Velma that I don't want the poster anymore. I'll find something else to hang in my shop.
This is the simple truth. We are all molecular machines. The body is a collection of atoms. The mind is a consequence of chemical reactions. Therefore, our lives are predestined along a path that is only visible in retrospect. Life is fated and unstoppable.
Gotta hand it to you, Max. You make my old med school lectures seem interesting.
Why don't you grab a chair? Sit a spell and revel with us. Got an update for us? We can't afford to sit this out for too much longer. Know what I mean? Well, I'll be a Raptidon's dinner. Reckon I ought to listen to gossip more often. As agreed, here's your compensation. Ain't a lot, but I hope it shows how much we appreciate all you've done. Now me and my friends here better get back to work before Velma blows a fuse.
Whatever you do, don't mention Tossball to Isaac. You'll never hear the end of it.
You know, I haven't seen him in a while.
If you'd gotten stuck in an hour-long rant about mostly colonists, you'd be thankful.
You startled me. Don't sneak up on a person like that, huh? Braxton. I've never even heard of a Braxton. Got nothing for you, sorry.
Dilated pupils, anxious posture, muscle spasms. She's high on some quality stuff.
No! Okay, maybe, just a little. Braxton always has a good stash, and I just like to let loose a little. Stop thinking about the marauders and the raptidons outside, you know? Oh, damn. He told me he was delivering to this house in the ruins south of town. Whole family had fallen sick, and he had some meds on hand. So maybe look for him there?
We're in agreement that this Braxton is probably dead, right?
I'd give you a friendlier welcome, but I'm up to my elbows in salt tuna guts. Sure can. If you want to pay me more than Nell's offering. That's a surprise. Tossball being part of her business and all. Take the poster then. And if I never hear another word about it, it'll be too soon. Something else on your mind?
Have you had time to check on that poster yet? I keep wondering if it's come in. Would you look at that? The Rizzo's logo is nice and bright, and you can still smell the ink on Mr. Holcomb's signature. I can't thank you enough. Still, you can have the bits I was going to spend at the bar this week. And you know what? Take my old tossball blocker too. Never get the chance to use it these days.
You don't look like Sublight. Must be freelance.
Poor Isaac. I thought we were safe inside these walls. Got any news from the rest of Halcyon?
Whoa, by the stars, my poor heart. I just about pissed my jumpsuit. Because there's no shame in having overactive bladder muscles, all right? It's a perfectly normal medical condition.
Sure, for lily-livered cowards, in my medical opinion.
You sound like a terrible doctor.
It's more of a hobby these days.
See what I deal with? This place is enough to try anyone's nerves. Only every day. But in case you haven't noticed, we don't exactly get ships on a regular basis, yours notwithstanding. And even if I did scrape together enough to buy passage out with Sublight, which would mean reaching Fallbrook without getting eaten, shot, or dissolved into green goop, what then? Nothing, that's what. Because MSI is not in what you'd call good standing with the board. So even if I could get out of here, no one's gonna hire me. Even talking about it has my blood pressure up. I've really got to stop. Where should I begin? With the oversized mantisaurs? Or perhaps the rap spewing acid at our walls? The board was right. This place isn't fit for human habitation, and I was a fool for staying. Sanjar, of course. He had all these glorious ideas about how he'd run Monarch. Rest periods between every work shift. No shift more than 10 hours long. It all sounds wonderful, until you realize there's only a few centimeters of repurposed steel between you and the deadliest creatures in the galaxy. I'm not even finished. Add that to the supply shortages, thanks to being cut off by the board, and I dare say we're no better off than the lowliest Spacer's Choice enclave.
Look, you might not be better off, but I can tell you, it can always be worse. Try celebrating what you've got.
I see you've stuck around. That was a real popular meal 10, 20 years back, before the board tucked tail and ran. These days, everybody's had a belly full of salt tuna. They all want borscht. And the mushrooms, well, not many venture out of town, what with the monsters hereabouts. I can whip one up for you, but it'll cost. Here's a menu. Whoa, hold on, Okay. Leak contained. My stars. Look, Captain, this is the best I can do without putting myself out of business. I'm mighty glad you reckon so. This is gonna take about an hour in the oven. Nothing I can do to speed it. That's just how cooking works. There we are. Now, if you don't mind, I really need to take a leak.
Good day to you.
Good, we're in. Understood. I'll keep my head down.
Hello, dearie. Why, I don't believe I've seen you before. And with sweet cheeks like those, I'd remember.
Quite the bedside manner, lady.
Well, it's so rare I get the pleasure of new company. What can Auntie Abigail do for you? Yes, indeed. Someone's got to keep Stellar Bay's people healthy and energized. Oh, but I am. I get to see plenty of my neighbors here, and I do dearly love a little gossip. Now, that can't be. Ms. Ramnareem Wentworth has already exceeded the month's... Oh. Dear me. She does have another dose in her allotment. How did I miss this? My, but you are a doll. Here's Neoka's caffeinoid, and if I know her, she's probably ready for it by now. Do take care of yourself, dearie.
Velma seem out of sorts to you?
He's always cranky.
You're back. Good news? Bad news? All of the above?
Says someone who's never had any fun.
Exactly. See? I'm glad someone on your crew's got some sensible. Got her head on straight. Whew, that hits the spot. Right in the, oh, no, there it is. There it is. Yes. We're in business. Let's go.
That was fast. I gotta see about stocking some on the ship.
You be careful. The first one's free. After that, they'll offer you gainful employment. Great. Where to? Oh, Hiram? I ain't checked in on that man in an age. He's running the giant radio tower we lovingly call Devil's Peak. We'll be going south and west, mostly along the road till we're past Fallbrook. Out there, there's a western slope that'll lead us through some fun. You like hunting, right? That's fun. If you're more of a spelunker, Rotting River will take you into the mountain caverns. We can discuss options when we get closer. That said, 3's already a crowd. I don't mind waiting somewhere until you got a spot open.
Long as you've got my back, I'll have yours. Welcome to the Unreliable Crew. In a manner of speaking.
Stellar Bay had a vicar once. He took it upon himself to convince Graham's folk to come back to the corporate fold. Kept making the trip between the city and Amber Heights by foot. Kept getting himself into all sorts of scrapes. Day came when I found a book of his in the middle of a rapt encampment. Hand still gripping it, too.
The plan unfolds as the plan unfolds. To vicar and layman alike. I don't mean to judge, but are you ever sober, Ms. Ramnareem Wentworth?
Only when I got a job to do, and even that ain't a guarantee.
Thank you for your efforts on MSI's behalf. This company owes you a debt.
Before you ask, Nyoka, I still don't sell caffeinoid. What can I get you? If you don't see it, I don't got it. Don't go asking for the special reserve.
Can we talk? Hey, got a favor to ask you. Figure while we're out here in the wilderness anyhow, we might stop in on an old friend of mine. Preferably before we get to Hiram's. It's on the way, don't worry. You don't seem the type to run off and get yourself killed, and I could use the help. Hey, it ain't easy for me to spill my guts like a cut-up rat, all right? I'll be upfront with you. I hate asking for help. I hate it. Every time I give someone the opportunity to disappoint me, they seem to make it their most immediate goal. But this, what I'm thinking, it's dangerous. Nothing we can't handle. I used to run with a band of hunters. Friends. 6 of us. We were on Monarch when the corporations pulled out, and we helped a lot of people pick up the pieces. I haven't seen 2 of them in years, and the rest I know to be dead. I'd like to gather their effects and bury them all in the same places, like the family we once were. I saw it happen. Hell, one of them was in my arms at the time. His name was Hayes, and he's our first stop. I buried him a ways from our encampment. I'll show you where he rests. He had a medallion in his effects. That's what I'll bring home to Barry. Then we find my 2 lost trackers and bring them home. A long time ago, we built an encampment in one of Monarch's cave systems. Trouble is, a Mantiqueen showed up and kicked us all out. If we can find Rebecca and Anders, they'll know how to lure her out. Then, we kill the bitch and bury everyone's medallions together. Oh yes. I can't wait.